federal prosecutor and president of West Coast Trial Lawyers, Neama Rahmani. So, Catherine, we are still waiting on this report. It's been a number of hours now. We thought we were going to have it earlier today. Any idea when we can get it and you'll be able to start sifting through all the documentation?
Kira, your guess is as good as mine up here. We don't have it yet. We are still waiting for that. Look, we expect it to be a longer report, building off that executive summary that they released earlier this week. But it's also going to include, and what I'm the most interested in, a lot of those transcripts. They're going to release their transcripts in different tranches, if you will. They're going to release some. They're expected to today, throughout the week, and then into next week. What do those transcripts say? Is there anything included in those that we didn't necessarily see during these public hearings? And then what's in that final report in the appendices, for example, that may have not been reported on in these public hearings? All of that we're obviously waiting for here. The other thing that will be fascinating to see more detail on is this idea of witness tampering. We know the committee has already notified the Department of Justice about an instance where Trump tried to get in contact with one of the witnesses. They said in their executive summary that they had multiple instances of that. Who were the people he was trying to contact? Is there more information associated with that? And is the DOJ investigating that in some way?
So, Neama, with this now in DOJ's hands, how do you think Special Counsel Jack Smith could use all the details from the committee's report for his investigation?
Kira, Smith is looking at two broad categories of evidence. The first is evidence that establishes Trump's knowledge and intent. And it doesn't matter which of the four charges you're talking about: false statements, obstruction of an official proceeding, defrauding the United States, or the most serious, of course, being insurrection. You have to get inside the former president's head. So what was told to him and what he told others is critical evidence of his knowledge and intent. Of course, the other thing we're going to need is that proximate causation, that legal causation. We know, obviously, he told the rioters to fight like hell, but you need that legal connection between the violence that occurred on January 6th and the former president's actions.
So, Catherine, 4 associates of Trump were also referred by the House committee to the DOJ. Could this report give any more clarification on that?
It could, yes, and we are expecting evidence to be attached to those referrals and more documentation, especially as it relates to Trump, but then the other associates as well. You've obviously heard about election lawyer John Eastman. We know that he's under investigation in some way by the DOJ. He had his phone seized by investigators a couple months back. There probably will be more information about that. There are other associates mentioned in these criminal referrals. A lot of those lawyers who were trying to convince Trump that he was able to overturn the election. I think we could see more details as it relates to them as well, and specifics. Some of them were just names, like Mark Meadows, the former chief of staff, Trump's former lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. Do the criminal referrals get into more depth there? That is something that we're likely to see in this report as well, whenever it comes out.
So when it does come out, and we are all anxious to see what's made public there, Neama, what evidence do you think the DOJ would like to see, could use, I guess, in order to indict Trump or one of his associates?
If you're prosecuting this case, Kira, you really want to flip those witnesses that Catherine identified, those other potential targets, right? Someone like John Eastman. I mean, we know a federal judge here in Southern California has already said that he really tried to defraud the United States and conspired to do so with the former president, and that the emails with Trump fall under the crime fraud exception to the attorney-client privilege. I mean, that's huge. If you can get someone like Eastman to cooperate against the former president, or, Rudy Giuliani or Meadows, I mean, that's the type of evidence you need. You want them to come, you want to get them before the grand jury and to say, I told Donald Trump that the Stop the Steal was not legitimate. He decided to move forward anyway. And I told him that the rioters were going to attack the Capitol building, and he did nothing. In fact, he encouraged them. So that's the type of evidence you need. Obviously, we saw bits and pieces of it from the January 6th committee, but if you really want to prosecute this case, you want to get those witnesses before the grand jury, lock in their testimony, and that way you can prepare for an indictment against Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, we actually heard from Hope Hicks for the first time, very close advisor to the president, saying just that. Catherine, Neama, thank you both so much. We'll follow